video on the UAE E-Invoicing Data Dictionary. In this video, we'll discuss about the optional data fields. We start with the question, why do we need to specify optional data fields in the first place? The answer is at best intuitive. If we look at the basic framework of OpenPeppol, it is an effort to standardize data fields in order to allow interoperability across borders. An apple must be spelled, pronounced, and understood as an apple, whether it is the UAE or it is France. To ensure this, if a field is not classified as mandatory, conditionally mandatory, or optional, it may not be included in a Peppol e-invoice because it is not part of the standardized data model. This ensures that the Peppol-compliant invoices remain interoperable across different countries, systems, and businesses. If a business needs to include additional non-standard fields for internal use, they should store them in internal ERP or accounting systems, but not send them via Peppol. Work with Peppol national authorities like the UAE, Singapore, or EU Peppol coordinating bodies to see if the national extensions can allow adding those new fields, or ensure compliance by following Peppol business or interoperability specifications, which are called the BIS specifications, to avoid validation failures. By sticking to standardized Peppol data fields, businesses can seamlessly exchange invoices across countries while ensuring compliance with tax and e-invoicing regulations. The first optional data field that we are discussing here is the IBT 0461, which is a scheme identifier. It becomes useful when the buyer identifier IBT 046 requires disambiguation, especially in cross-border transactions. The same identifier structure may exist in multiple countries. For example, a tax number in country A may look similar to a business registry number in country B. Using IBT 0461 ensures the recipient correctly understands the buyer identifier. For example, a UAE-based seller exports goods to a buyer in France. The buyer's identifier is the EU VAT number. IBT 0461 scheme identifier 9938 explicitly states that IBT 046 refers to a EU VAT number. Without the scheme identifier, some systems might not recognize whether FR 1234567891 is a VAT number, a business registration number, or another type of identifier. To summarize, the scheme identifier basically lets us know that a specified business, a buyer identifier is based on a particular standard. So, for example, the EU VAT scheme is a standard here, and the value which is there in IBT 46 should be understood as IBT 0461, which is the EU VAT scheme. Similarly, IBT 0471 is also a scheme identifier. When a UAE-based seller exports goods or services, the buyer is located outside the UAE. Since buyers from different countries follow different legal entity identification systems, IBT 0471 can be used to specify the scheme under which the buyer's legal registration identifier is issued. In the example on the slide, the buyer's legal registration identifier is provided. The scheme identifier specifies that this identifier is from the UK VAT system. Now we move on to the next optional data field, IBT 012, which refers to the contract reference. In scenarios like long-term service agreements, utility bills, or recurring billing arrangements, an invoice might not be issued per transaction, but issued under a broader time-based or time-bound contract. IBT 012 helps to identify that contract and relate the invoice in question to that contract. For example, a telecom company provides a postpaid services on a 12-month contract and issues monthly invoices. The contract reference TEL 010203 allows the buyer, seller, and the tax authority to track the invoices to its original agreement. BTUA 05 ensures transparency in continuous supply transactions by referencing the total contract amount. It is used in conjunction with IBT012 contract reference to establish a clear link between the invoice and the agreed contract value. For contract value, businesses must provide the value which is agreed at the time of issuance of the invoice. In the instant example, the annual contract value of the telecom contract is 5,200 billed monthly. If in case the contract value changes thereafter, the revised value can be mentioned on the subsequent invoices. Let's say the user has added some data packs on the contract. The subsequent invoices will have the revised contract value in that case. BTUA06 specifies how often invoices are issued under a continuous supply contract. Common billing frequencies for continuous supplies may include monthly, quarterly, annually, or there may also be cases where uh, invoicing is done based on completion of a milestone. Construction projects, large-scale services, etc. are examples of such type of projects. In these cases, the value of BTUA06 may be others, and the details may be provided in the data field IBT022 invoice note. IBT 159 represents the country where the invoiced item was produced, manufactured, or originated. It is mainly relevant for international trade, but not for domestic transactions. We take an example to explain how IBT 159 data field is used. An electronics retailer returns defective laptops to their German supplier and issues a tax credit note. In this case, adding the details of the item country of origin may help the businesses operationally and also help to identify and confirm logistics and compliance requirements, especially with respect to customs. Here, it may be especially relevant to observe that e-invoicing requirements may extend beyond the basic compliance and reporting requirements under VAT and extend to cover aspects that cover other legislations or even operational requirements across countries. IBT 070, delivered to party name, refers to the name of the party to whom the goods or services are delivered. This field is used when the recipient of the goods or services differs from the buyer name. It is particularly useful in drop shipments, third-party logistics, or intercompany transfers, where the invoice is issued to the buyer, but the goods may be physically delivered to another entity or location. IBT 071 is a unique identifier used to specify the exact delivery location where goods or services are being supplied. This identifier is crucial when the delivery location is different from the buyer's registered address. It is often represented using the global location number, VAT registration number, or other location-based codes used for precise logistics and VAT compliance tracking. IBT 0711 is used to specify the type of scheme for identifying the delivery location when IBT 071 is provided. It defines the coding system used to ensure that the delivered to location is recognized in a structured and interoperable format across different systems, authorities, and trading partners. IBT 0711 is essential for identifying the scheme type used in IBT 071. It supports various global and local location coding standards such as GLN, VAT-10, etc. IBT 072 refers to the date on which the goods or services were physically delivered to the buyer or recipient. This field is important for tax compliance, invoice validation, and logistics tracking. It confirms when the supply of goods or services took place. It may differ from the invoice issue date, which is IBT 002. Classic examples could include instances like exports, where the invoice was issued on a date, but the actual export happened at a later date, or e-commerce supplies as well. With this, we come to an end of this video where we discussed about the optional data fields in UAE invoicing. The optional data fields discussed in this video may not be a comprehensive listing of all optional data fields under the UAE Data Dictionary and are broadly based on the e-invoicing public consultation document. In each of the slides, we have also shared illustrative examples of data values to explain these data fields for easy understanding. However, the expectations regarding actual data values or formats could be different when the final UAE Data Dictionary is released. We hope the video was useful in understanding the complex UAE Data Dictionary requirements. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more such videos to decode the complexities of the UAE Data Dictionary and e-invoicing. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we will deal with the complexities of the tax credit note under the UAE e-invoicing framework, and we'll come up with some interesting discussions around are there any differences between the requirements of the VAT law and the invoicing requirements for issuing standard tax credit notes. Thank you.